First, please say hi to the fans at TheOneRing.net.
Hello, everybody at OneRing.net. We're so excited and we're so honored to be with you guys here. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, you are now part of the Tolkien fandom world, but I really enjoyed the panel earlier today, and I got the impression from things that you were saying that you were a Tolkien fan before you began working on this movie, and I think you were also, Joseph. So maybe I could ask you both just to tell me about your own Tolkien fandom.
I actually, I'm an immigrant from Korea, and so I came over here when I was in high school. And I didn't speak much English then, and but as I was learning English, everywhere I turn, everybody's reading either Lord of the Rings or Stephen King. Lord of the Rings or Stephen King, So I was like, so what is this book you're reading? And they're like, oh, this is the most wonderful works. If you want to learn English and if you actually are speaking English, you have to read this. And I'm like, okay. And it was so hard, in the beginning. At the time, I couldn't even understand Die Hard. So, I couldn't understand Lord of the Rings. But as time went on, my English caught on and was able to read and understand. And it just floored me. And it's not just a storytelling, it's the universe, And then the Peter Jackson's film came. And at the time, I was actually working at Warner Brothers, and even for people working there, it was electric. Everybody knew we had something amazing, and it was such a breakthrough, and that got me into it, again, So now I'm in a position where I'm like, now I've left Warner Brothers, so I'm working again for Warner Brothers, creating this film, but then also now, not only I'm honored to be part of this community, but also now I'm getting my kid into this. Hey, your daddy made this movie. you better start with the Fellowship of the Ring. He's like, I'm scared. It's like, no, you're watching this. So yeah, that's kind of my experience, and I'm still experiencing it real time, and I really want to get my kid into it and really get into the world with him again, and hopefully we get to do more of this, and it's my hope. Yeah. トルキンの関しての自分の経験。
子供の頃読んだ時は日本語の訳の問題もあると思うんだけど、とても難しくて単純に楽しむことができなかったんですね、実はね。でも改めてこの作品をやる上でね、読み返してみた時に、トルキンは、彼は言語学者なのでね、言葉でだと思うんだけども、ファンタジーって本来世界を自分でゼロから作っていくっていうことがファンタジー作品の一番面白い部分だと思うんですよね。でそれをトールキンは時代にね、彼は言葉でそれを作り上げていくってことをすごく楽しんでいたんだなっていうのを改めて感じたんですね。でピーター・ジャクソンも彼とこの仕事をするにあたって会った時に、彼は今度はその世界を今までピーター・ジャクソンが見てきたおそらく映画、それをその中のイメージを使ってこの世界を作り上げていくことをすごく楽しんでいるんだなっていうことを感じたんですよね。なので僕もこの作品を作る上で改めてトールキンのどういう気持ちで作品指輪物語を書いてたんだろうかということをある種追体験するような気持ちで、それでアニメーションを作っていこうと思ったので、本当に彼はある種ファンタジーオタクでね、時代まだ、ファンタジーっていうジャンルが子供向けとして思われていた時代に、それをいかに大人が読む鑑賞に耐えるものにしようかとか、でもその裏ですごくファンタジーを世界を作っていくということを楽しんでた、そういうふうに僕はトールキンの作品をもう一回追体験、彼がどうやってあれを書いてたのかっていうのをちょっと追体験してみたような感じがありますよね。
So for him, the first exposure was he got to read the Lord of the Rings books when he was in third grade, and it was a very, very formal, faithful translation. So it was very tough for him. And so it's like, wow, this is a very difficult book, but it feels something. He feels like it's something staggering, something huge, but he couldn't quite get into it because of the dense nature of it at the time. But as he grew up, he learned to appreciate obviously the books. But once he really kind of fully understood the appeal of the books, then the Peter Jackson's film came, and that's just around the time actually when he just became a director. And and it was shocking to him because it was a visual breakthrough. I mean, so it's as much of a breakthrough as a Star Wars. So it really shocked him, and also, you know, what's interesting is the fantasy in the fantasy genre is interesting because, you know, when you're trying to visualize it, because, you know, you gotta imagine that, right? So rather than, you know, visualizing it, the man actually made it happen in text. And that's incredible. It's so vivid, even though it's in text. But what Peter Jackson did, what was amazing, was that he actually was able to now bring it to screen and made it happen and made it convincing. And that was the breakthrough. And so for him, you know, like Peter Jackson too, but also at the same time Tolkien. You know, he must have been a fantasy otaku, meaning, you know, like it's like a good way of saying geek, right? I mean, he must have loved the fantasy, and what he did was he elevated that from a maybe the children's fairy tale to a giant work of literally, you know, classic. And not only that, something that would enthrall people, you know, around the world in many generations, and it's still going. So that's something that he really was impressed with, because, you know, when he does original work, he understands and appreciates. Oh, this Tolkien must have really enjoyed making this. Just building the universe, just little details of it, not just the big pieces, just the little details. And so it was. He appreciated that very much, and that is the approach that he took when he was trying to do this movie. That to try to appreciate and pay homage to the kind of works that was there before him, you know, by Tolkien and also by Peter Jackson. So he felt like he's basically chasing them, like, I mean, you know, he's seeing the back, you know, their backs, and he's chasing, you know, them, you know, on this path, and for him, that's a whole new experience, you know, rather than just enjoying it. Now he was in the world making it, and so yeah, it was a fantastic experience for him.
Well, we're all very excited to see your version of Peter Jackson's Tolkien's Middle-earth. Very excited for it. Welcome to the OneRing.net Tolkien family. You're now part of it, and I want to thank you both very much. Arigato, Kamiyama-san. Thank you.
Such an honor. Thank you, guys.